Hey everybody, I am so excited to be here. I'm actually outside the grocery store in case we have time for a little bonus. But today we're really about pre-Purim intention. We have the big 2 hour interactive Purim, ideally blueprint workshop coming up March 9th. But everybody needs to start thinking about Purim today. And I'm sure so many of us already have plans, already have started putting things together, and maybe are even already seeing that we're going to be approaching burnout. And this is the time to make different choices. This is the time to decide to do it better than we've ever done it before. So this is interactive, and this is really for you guys to have an insight into what makes it special for you. I don't have the perfect answer, so what's going to give you guys the perfect term, but within you already is that wisdom. So I'm going to share my screen. And here it is. Okay, everybody can see the intention sheet? Yes? Okay. So today we're going to really set some intentions and release some unrealistic expectations. So number one is, guys, use the chat or feel free while you're cooking or cleaning to share verbally with me. But think about for yourself, like, what have we learned from our past? Like, what was your most dissatisfying and disappointing current memory? Think about like what you felt that year, what you ate that year, and then how you reacted afterwards. And just to kind of prime the pump here, and so that we all know that it's a safe space, I'm gonna share. I love that I am like warm and dry, and yet it is storming all around me. So I apologize if the background noise is distracted. I didn't know that was gonna happen. But oh, sorry. Am I muted? Is it like really bad, like the noise? Guys, tell me before so I know if I need to move or not.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Because I'm like warm and dry, but there's like a huge storm outside. It's like shaking the window. Okay. So what have we learned from the past? So anybody want to go first, or I can go first? Like, what's your most dissatisfying, disappointing current memory? And we can't see you, so don't worry. It's a little more not.
Hi, I'll start. I'm heading out in a few minutes because I have to go to the supermarket. But in any event, I guess the most unsatisfied one was when you're just not prepared, and like you're hungry and you're like, you make a plan, but you don't like prepare your plan. Like you just get up and you're hungry and you see all the sweets and then you start eating them, and then you feel bad about it because why did I do that? I didn't want to do that. So it's like any other, if you don't plan, then you'll just be unsuccessful. So.
Absolutely. And what was your most beautiful and fulfilled Purim that you can remember? What was different? What did you feel? And then what did you eat? And then how did that affect you?
Definitely when I had like a really good breakfast and drank a lot of water and a lot of like beverages, not water, like tea and iced coffee and a lot of well hydrated, and then came to the Seuda to eat like the food and not the nash. Also, it really depends if I'm hosting or not. Like we rotate. So if I'm hosting, it's a little more stressful. Like I try to eat before because I'm like busy, I can't even usually sit down always. But if I'm not hosting, then I make sure that I bring like a salad with me. Like I usually volunteer to bring the salad, so I know there's a salad there for myself, and a good protein that I like.
So over the last few years that you've been on a healthy journey, right? What you always wanted to be healthy. What's the difference between the years that you made a plan that you could execute And the years that you made a plan that, like you said, you wanted to do the thing, but when you woke up in the morning, it was really like all about the show and not about like you kept saying you want to do it, but you didn't prepare to do it. What really has been the difference for you for when you prepare to be successful versus want to be successful?
What was the difference? Like, how did it happen?
Yeah.
Well, it's all about like planning. Like, you want to eat healthy, so you have to, like, you know, a week before, make a list of things that you want to go shop that'll be in the house, like be fully stocked of things that you need, because on Purim day, you're not going to start going to the supermarket. So it's all about the planning in general and having the things that will make you successful, like the cut of vegetables and the, you know,
And
that
so
you'll need
what
to.
trips us up? Like, right, like here we are, how many weeks out from Purim, and we're having this conversation today for this reason, right? Because
Right.
are we thinking today more about, oh, am I going to put as much effort into making sure that my Purim is the most beautiful and fulfilled? Or am I already worried about who we're eating with, what the menu's going to be, or more like, what are my mishloach not going to be, and who am I giving to, and what are the kids wearing, and what are we doing? Like, how much effort and thought are we putting into those things versus actually looking at, are these things in alignment with what we want?
Right. That's a question.
You know? Yeah.
Wait, be more specific. Like what?
The question is today, right? We're having this meeting today. Until today, kind of what are you already thinking about and planning for Perth? Have you thought about the costumes? Have you thought about the mishpachei manot? Have you thought about where you're eating? And has it even like started to come up? How could I do this in the healthiest way?
Right. Well, truthfully, I haven't thought about Purim yet because my kids are a little bit older, so they're pretty much, my two younger ones, they're doing like, they're thinking about it, but like I'm just, you know, so that's a little bit less stressful for me.
Excellent.
And I haven't, you know, I'm not as organized as I would like to be. I'm, you know,
We're all human.
I wish I was. But yeah, but even thinking about it, you know, I know what works. So once I know, I don't even know yet. I know it's not in my house this year, but I'll definitely be the one making the big salad and a protein, even if I have to make 2 salads, b'simcha. And I know I'll just do it the day before, like not the day of Purim, start scrambling on for a salad. I'll just make sure that, you know, fully stocked at home.
Amazing.
And that's going to make me calmer.
So does anybody else want to share kind of like what are some of the things that you've learned in the past make you feel dissatisfied and disappointed? Like what stresses,
I'm willing
what
to.
tensions? Please share.
Okay, so I have to say I have this thing about baking in my house, which is really difficult. I feel like if I smell it and if I'm like wrapped in it, then like I can't resist it. Like, so I have to say the worst Purims are probably the ones where I hate to say it, but the ones where I bake hamantash with my kids. Because they're around, and they're not just around the day of Purim, because you have to make them in advance. So they're around like for the whole few days, and then you know your kids eat them, so you have to make more. And it becomes like this whole week long of making hamantashen that everybody enjoys, and everyone's spending quality time together, which is lovely. But everyone's also just eating hamantashen for like a week, and basically nothing else.
And then what's the reaction? Like there's that moment where you have this bonding with your kids making hamantashen, but what's really the price of that? Like when you're eating hamantashen all week, how do you really feel and react?
I feel like actually everyone's like my family's pretty okay with like eating it. I just feel really gross after a while. Like I feel gross having it around. And I've also realized over the years that like my kids are also really happy to just go to the bakery and buy a hummus. And it's just as much quality time, like walking to the place, picking out which flavor you want, because like we're in Israel and there are like 45 different flavors, just like, you know, sufganiyot. And they actually enjoyed that process just as much as they enjoyed baking it. So like I might have my kid might make a few hamantashen for his friends, and we might make it just to put into Mishloach Manot, and you know, he can have a few, but like it won't be me making the dough, and like it won't be as intensive, because if it's store-bought dough, it's just not as good.
Yeah.
But one of the other things I've also, like, especially for this year, what I've done, like with a new baby, and my husband has like business people he has to give to. I'm not giving that many Mishloach Manot, so like I don't have junk around as much. But one of the things that I decided to do was actually to buy them. I found some that were pretty inexpensive, and that means that they're already closed up. They're already wrapped. So like you can't pick at them and then cover up that you picked at them. Like, you can't sneak it. You can't like live with the candy in bags around your house and be like, no, but that's from Mishloach Manot, I can't have it. It's just, it's already wrapped. It's already pretty. And all I have to do is, you know, pick it up and deliver it. And that's it.
Phenomenal. And what are your memories of like your most beautiful and fulfilling Purims? Like, what were you feeling? How did you eat? How did you react? What was the difference?
Honestly, I feel like I don't really enjoy Purim that much as a mother as I did as like a teen or young adult. I feel like I enjoyed it so much more. Or actually, I enjoyed it as a child too. I feel like in Israel, it's more of a rush day, and it's just not as much fun as I found it to be in the States growing up.
That's so interesting. So are you open to, can I ask you a few questions on that with your permission?
Sure.
So I used to feel that way too. And now Purim is like my most relaxed day. So I completely resonated with what you said. What was it that made it feel so fun for you as a kid? Like specifically, like what really made it feel so much more relaxed that you don't feel today?
So it didn't necessarily feel more relaxed, actually. It just felt more fun. Like, I feel like because you're in America and it's not Israel where everyone's celebrating Purim, I feel like the shuls put on a lot more programming for kids. Like there's just like carnivals at the shuls and like fun stuff where it's not like a day where I'm entertaining my kids again, running around like a crazy person, making a Suda. It's like, there are more programs like available, and it's in some ways I feel like my parents were a lot less stressed than I feel like we tend to be. But I've also learned to also take it down a notch. Like we do the Suda. I usually invite people over. I've already invited 2 families this week. I don't know why I did that, but I did. and I have no idea how I'm pulling that off, but I will somehow. It might be IKEA meatballs, but we'll figure it out.
Right.
And I've learned that, like, you know what, if we do the live the live version on YouTube from like Tel Aviv, the Tel Aviv synagogue does a live Megillah reading both days, and sometimes you just put that up, and that's our second Megillah reading, and we wake up late and we're in our pajamas, and I actually make the kids deliver Mishloach Manot to all their friends, like by foot, because I'm like, you guys are eating off candy. I don't want to restrict you, but you've got to get that energy out. It's not coming home with you.
Right.
And that has also helped with a lot of the stress, because I'm not like trying to cook with 2 kids who are like so restless and high on sugar, but like at least they're getting it out somewhere. I try to like tell them, you know, you can have some tomorrow. There's Shushan Purim tomorrow, especially like this year. It's like a whole weekend, like a long weekend. So I'm probably going to try to tell them, well, don't you want some for Friday and Shabbat and whatever? But the reality is I don't want them snacking on sugar for like the next month and a half. Like, I like whatever is disgusting will probably go in the garbage. Like, and I have one kid who actually has a cavity as of yesterday, we found out. So he has a new rule of no sugar at all, like no gummies, nothing that really sticks. So I'm probably going to throw all of that out in the garbage. And I'll just be like chocolate and cookies and whatever. And I'll try to like portion it out. But I also don't want to make it a thing for them. I want them to learn, like, my oldest is actually very self-aware. So he doesn't eat until he feels sick or anything. My youngest is a lot less so. But I don't want to make it, I don't want food to be an issue for them.
100%.
So I don't want to fight with them about it. So if they eat it all in one day, they eat it all in one day. They learn their lesson. Hopefully they won't do it the next year. But like, but I don't want to be like, you know, the policeman. If you can only have 3 sweets today on Purim, like,
right.
Um,
I think a lot of people
so
are going to resonate with that.
a lot of people, sorry, what?
I think that's something a lot of people resonate with. A lot of people here is like, I don't want my kid to bring sugar, stress, insanity home, but also I don't want to be the food police. I have thought that thought and felt that many times. I don't want to be the
Right.
food police.
And it's really hard because on the one hand, you don't want to deal with the ramifications of your kids like completely bonkers in your house, especially, you know, if you're living in a place like Modine or Tel Aviv or Jerusalem where your house is really, really small. And at the same time, you really don't want to be on top of them. And you also just don't have the energy. Like you don't have the time to be on top of them. It's Purim. They're running around with their friends. You don't know what's going on. You're like, okay, whatever.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. And I think there's so much value in what both of you shared. And I want to leave you guys with a thought, and I'll share some insights I've had over the years based on kind of what you guys were saying. And it's that we have two ways we can go into this holiday. We can go in like Haman, where we are making a lot of noise. We are feeling really frustrated. We're like rushing from thing to thing, trying to do things like, I have to do this. I have to host guests. I'm expected to make these mishlochei manot. I can't bring food to my friend's house who's having the Suda. I can't tell my kids no. I can't tell my kids they can have everything. Like from this place of complete being driven by what we think is expected of us. And or we could go into it from this place, because like Haman was going in and everything he did was for self-advancement, and it never worked out for him. Think about it. This all started with him wanting Mordecai to bow down to him. He wanted to be right. He wanted to make the show. He wanted to be respected and admired. And when that was his only goal, when the Mishloach Manot weren't coming from this place of, I really want to give this. They're coming from this place of, I have to do it this way. It's important that they look like this. I have to host this way. It has to be like this. I need for it to come from that place. It just never worked out for him. Think about it. He sowed the seeds of his own destruction every single time. He didn't check in with what he really wanted. And what I love and respect so much about the women in this community is that from everything you guys said, you're coming at this from the God perspective. Okay, I want to be planned in advance. I don't have to host in a way that is going to drive me crazy and leave me stressed and unable to enjoy the holiday. I don't have to give mishlochei manot in a way that I won't enjoy. I don't have to bake in a way that I won't enjoy. I can have all the things that I want. The closest is my kids. I can have being a great host or really enjoying being a guest at someone else's home, and feel healthy and feel good. I can have both because I'm coming at it from a place of my values. I'm doing things that further those values, and that's what's leading. And I'm just so honored, and I loved everything you guys shared today. And just my own insight that I work on every Purim is that I realized that similar to what you said, I wanted to feel fun for me. And I felt that for a long time, Purim felt like a lot of obligations that were enjoyable, but really not like they were enjoyable on the outside. Like we were doing all the things that should be fun, but I felt harried and stressed and it wasn't feeling fun, you know? It was feeling rushed. It was feeling argumentative. It was feeling like I'm the one left doing all the cleanup. You know, everyone else is having fun and I'm providing the fun, but I'm not having fun. And so I really started looking around, and our yeshuv has an amazing women's only party at night. And it goes till 2:00 in the morning. And I said, I can't go because I have to. I can't go because I have to. I have to be finishing the Mishlochei Manot then. I have to get a good night's sleep. I have to this, I have to that. And when I stopped saying those things that I want to have fun too, I started planning a little more in advance, simplifying what we do. We also give only real food now. Every year we do a different theme. One year we gave like chicken and rice. This year We're going to actually host a barbecue of just hot dogs and pizza and like a little salad, like vegetable bar outside our house. And we're going to give out little cards inviting people to come get a fresh hot dog. And that way, you know, we get to see all of our friends and they get to get a mishlochim manat. And it's actual real food that we're providing for
So
people at
cute.
lunchtime, right? And so,
I
but it's
love
so
that.
much
It's like a
more
lemonade
fun
stand, but
for
nobody
us.
has to pay for it.
Exactly. And so it's so much more fun for us. And we also started moving our Suda later to like an early dinner and taking a nap. I literally
We've been
take a
doing that
nap.
for years. I love
Yeah,
that.
and
I don't know
it's
how people
so
do the Suda so
powerful.
early.
Yeah. And just getting out of it has to be this way and turning it into something that is in alignment with your values. Also, we started doing a big fun thing with friends at night. Like my son reads the Megillah since his bar mitzvah 4 years ago. He had a Megillah he got a Megillah for Purim, and that was his bar mitzvah thing. And so he reads the Megillah at night, and then we do a talent show, and we get together with all our friends and all their kids, and then I go to the women's party till like 2 a.m. And we don't do the actual Suda with anybody. This year, my in-laws are coming in from America, so we're going to do it with them. And the kids have gone out and they have hung out with their friends all day already. And we've delivered all the mishlochim manot and we've taken a nap. And then we just hang out and we eat a simple meal. That's healthy, that's yummy. And then we go visit all of our friends' different Sudas and we say hi to people. And then when we're done, we go home and our house is not trashed anymore. And it's been straightened up. And my husband's drunk and the kids go to bed. And now they're a little bit older and I get to have some wine also. And I go to sleep and it's just completely transformed our Purim because we're just coming at it from a different place. And over the years, just in terms of the kids, there's no right way and wrong way. I can just share some insights we've had. And that is I bought the kids each a box, like an opaque, not see-through clear box, not clear box. And the kids decorate it before Purim with their names. And everything that they get from their friends in Mishlochei Manot goes in their box.
Oh, that's such a cute idea.
And then they could eat some things from their box, but all their stuff goes in their box. And after Purim, they decide like anything that doesn't fit in the box, we donate. Because the box is like a decent size, but it's not too big. So they go and sort everything they got till their box is full, and everything that doesn't fit in the box, we donate to the soldiers. We drop off at the hospital. There's different pickup sites around where you can donate extra food. And then we do our cleaning chart for Passover the day after Purim. And every day they come home and they do one chore for the Passover cleaning chart or organizing chart or spring cleaning. Like I add extra stuff in there so there's plenty of time. And then they get to go pick something from their box. And it just keeps it fun and it keeps everybody from fighting over who's who. And sometimes they trade and they negotiate and they figure it out. But also it stops me from eating any leftovers because it's like it's not box. Like in a family box. It's in their box with their name, and I promise you, they know what they have. It would really feel like stealing.
My kids too. They count each thing. They count each thing. If mommy or daddy took one tiny chocolate bar, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
That's right. Like then you are a thief. It's not like it's in the pantry and it's everybody's and it's left. So that's like kind of just some things that we've learned from experience over time. When I really looked at the things that made me the most dissatisfied and disappointed, it was when instead of giving and feeling generous, I felt resentful. And instead of feeling like we were all in it together as a family having fun, it felt like I was providing the fun for everybody else and left to clean up the mess. And so that was always what would lead me to overeating.
Drained also.
That didn't feel good, that burnout, that feeling drained, that feeling unappreciated. And so when I think about my most beautiful and fulfilled terms, it's really the memories that we've had together and the fun things we've done together, whether it's before or during and after. And so those are the values that everything else has to go through that prism. And we are at exactly 29 minutes. So any last questions or thoughts, anything you guys last want to share?
I actually was just thinking about one thing.
Please.
If you don't mind. One of the things I've noticed about like every day where it's not the same as like most days, like sometimes it's Friday, Sometimes it's Thanksgiving, sometimes it's Erev Pesach, whatever it is. I find that the one thing that really helps with having like a healthy day and going into the meal, able to stay on track with goals, is really to make sure that like the first thing I do when I wake up is fill up my water bottle, and it's there.
Yes.
And that's like, and I realized that like we didn't touch on that at all, but that's like really the number one thing, because I find that sometimes we get to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm preparing the Suda, and I've maybe had like 1 cup of water because I'm running around like a headless chicken, and I'm starting to grab the sugary stuff because I'm really dehydrated, and it's just becoming habit. And the reality is that the more water I'm drinking throughout the day, the more likely I'm staying on track and aligned with how I want the day to go. And also the more
Absolutely.
clear-headed I feel.
For sure. Not only that, and we're going to go more into this next week, because this is kind of like setting the intentions, and next week we're going to get more into strategy. But I'll share one final thing, and that's breakfast. Really planning out what's going to be a good breakfast and making sure I really eat a real breakfast Purim morning. And like Tammy said, because she's had Purim talks from me before about having a huge vegetable tray out. Then my kids actually eat vegetables, and so do I throughout the day. Like when you're walking by and having the candy immediately go in their boxes where you can't see it, they know it's there, but they can't like see it, and the vegetables are out in sight. Really makes a huge difference. And I hope both of you will come back and tell people in the group, come back next week. We're going to get into strategy, but it really all starts now, weeks out, when you start inviting those guests, being like, this, at what point will this stop being fun and stop being in my values? Will become about what I have to do instead of what I get to gift myself for the holiday. Thank you guys so much. You had so much wisdom to share. This call wouldn't have been amazing without you. And have an incredible Shabbat. And I'll see you hopefully next week.
Bye. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.